So Costco shareholders have shot down an anti-DEI policy, or at least that's what the news will have you believe. We'll get a little more into that in a bit here and kind of discuss what I really mean by that. First off, let's just talk about the fact that Costco had a shareholder meeting, or more so a shareholder vote recently about the anti-DEI metrics because, just like everyone else is currently getting rid of DEI, we saw Walmart get rid of it, Target get rid of it, Meta get rid of it. I mean, Trump has killed DEI in the federal government. So companies are starting to get rid of it because the Supreme Court ruled that affirmative action is illegal on college campuses. And there have been quite a few suits, or at least there's starting to be quite a few suits from conservative groups towards businesses because if it's illegal in college, why is it not illegal in business? And, we saw Trump pull back and rescind an executive order from 1960 about affirmative action even. So I think it's becoming a lot more unpopular, and I think people are feeling a lot more emboldened, shall we say, to push back against it. But not Costco. No, because 98% of shareholders voted against the anti-DEI policy. And that's because a couple of reasons. First off, board members suggested and requested that shareholders vote no, right? Because the board members are confident that their inclusive policies are going to help Costco's strength going forward. The secondary part of that is something we're going to get into, which is the big banks. Isn't it fun? Isn't it great? So, before I explain what we're going to talk about there, let me just kind of explain how big banks work, right, in terms of voting. There's a thing called proxy voting. And, here's the idea, right? Every single shareholder who owns even one share of Costco, or any stock for that matter, is entitled to a vote. Their vote has as much weight as that one share of stock or how many shares they have are worth. And, yeah, they're allowed to vote. But they can also have their broker vote for them. And what I mean by that is, you've got your Fidelities, you've got your JP Morgans, you've got your TD Ameritrades, your Charles Schwab, Robinhood, whatever, right? They hold your stock for you. And if you allow them, which they will ask you whenever you first sign up with them, if you allow them, they can vote for you. Instead of you doing any of the voting, they'll just vote in what they believe is your best interest. And most people do that. Most people do not want to vote in stocks. And that's part of the problem here, right? That's why I take issue with this 98% number. Because I bet of this 98% number, 90% of it was proxy voting. And this is something we're going to talk about here, which is just who owns Costco. From Yahoo Finance, we've got Vanguard Group has 9.4%. BlackRock has 7.56%. State Street has 4.06%. Geo Capital Management has 2.14%. Morgan Stanley has 2.13%. Fidelity has 2.1%. Bank of America has 1.59%. Norges Bank Investment Management has 1.2%. Northern Trust has 1.05%. And Bank of New York Mellon has 1.01%. That is 32.24% of the company owned just institutionally. So already of that 98%, 32.24%, that was already just the companies themselves, right? Just the biggest companies. And of that, I guarantee a lot more is held by hedge funds and held by other institutional firms. So of that 98%, I bet you maybe 30% is actually held by individual investors. And of that 30%, I bet you 85% of them, this is all speculation, mind you, but this is just how it generally goes, right? 85% of them likely had proxy voting done, where they just let their broker vote for them. They didn't care. They didn't know. So, you got to wonder, with all the lawsuits going around and all the anti-DEI stuff going around, seeing as how, the Supreme Court said that it was not legal for colleges to discriminate, which now emboldens people to say that it's not legal for businesses to discriminate. And the fact that Trump is coming at it with a, massive hammer, he's a bull in a china shop when it comes to DEI right now, you gotta wonder, is it really in the best interest of shareholders to vote to maintain this DEI? Because that's something we're gonna see in this article here. If any one of Costco's white employees were to sue Costco and win, which in all likelihood they probably would, that costs tons of money. Now, Costco has 300,000 employees, and a lot of them are white, right? if, say, 5% of their employees were to sue. That's not a lot of employees. That's not that many, right? Well, it's like 15,000. So yeah, that's a lot of employees. And if they were to sue and they were to win, Costco would go bankrupt. So, I don't know if this is necessarily in Costco's best interest. The reason why I bring this up is because all these big banks, all these investment firms, trust me, I know, I worked for them, are super, super woke. Fidelity, JP Morgan, Bank of New York Mellon, all these Vanguard, all these folks, super duper woke, like insanely woke, right? And with that, if you let them vote proxy, which these people did, they're going to vote for this woke crap. They've been voting for it for years and years. That's how this all happened. See, the woke left got into government, which that's fine and dandy. That's just what happens, right? Because government is government, right? But the problem is that the woke left also managed to infiltrate these investment firms. And because of that, the woke left, everyone would assume would be able to infiltrate the government. Everyone, assumes that it's perfectly normal for them to be able to infiltrate the government, be able to influence some policies, right? But the reason why the left has such a stranglehold on culture is because of these big banks, because of finance, right? Because they infiltrate these big banks, and because of proxy voting, they're able, and because of the fact that most people don't care, right? Normies don't care. That's just how it goes, right? Because of that, they're able to vote whatever DEI garbage, whatever woke garbage they want into these companies. So not only are they influencing the government, they're influencing private companies, and it's wild that nobody's noticed this, right? That nobody spoke out about the fact that they're just voting however the hell they want to vote. And because it's a proxy vote, and 95% of people say, yeah, fuck it, I don't want to do any proxy vote. I don't want to vote. Just vote for me, right? They just let them vote in this DEI woke garbage. And that's your answer as to how the woke left has infiltrated business. It's not because these morons in every business are hiring these woke left. There are plenty that probably don't. It's just because the big banks are voting proxy. Because normies, most people say, I don't want to be bothered with the voting. I don't care. I don't know what's going on. You do it for me. And you have woke activists in these big banks, and there you go. That's the answer. Either way, I have ranted enough. Let's read from the AP. Costco successfully defends its diversity policies as other U.S. companies scale theirs back. Costco shareholders rejected a proposal urging the wholesale club operator to evaluate any risks posed by its diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. According to preliminary results shared by Costco executives at its annual meeting Thursday, more than 98% of shares voted against the proposal. Notice how they put that, 98% of shares, because that's what you can say whenever you want to say proxy voting. Because it wasn't necessarily the shareholders, it was just the shares themselves that voted. The National Center for Public Policy Research, a conservative think tank based in Washington, had submitted the proposal arguing that Costco's DEI initiatives hold litigation, reputational, and financial risks to the company, and therefore financial risks to shareholders, which is very correct. The think tank has made a similar proposal to Apple, and like some American companies that already scaled back or retreated from their diversity policy, cited a U.S. Supreme Court decision in July 2023 that outlawed affirmative action in college admissions. But Costco's board of directors voted unanimously to ask shareholders to reject the motion. The board said it believes our commitment to an enterprise rooted in respect and inclusion is appropriate and necessary. The report requested by this proposal would not provide meaningful additional information. The director's message to shareholders details how having diverse employees and suppliers has, in their view, fostered creativity and innovation in the merchandise and services that we offer, and led to greater customer satisfaction among Costco members. See, and this is the rub, right? This is the part where they don't tell you the truth. Because DEI does not cause diversity. DEI causes racism towards the majority. Because you can have diversity without DEI initiatives. Nobody's saying that you're not allowed to hire these people. Nobody's saying that you're not allowed to hire, minorities, right? But that's what they try to make you think by saying anti-DEI means we won't hire minorities anymore. Well, that just means you're a shitty business runner then. That just means that you don't want to hire them, and you need these policies to be allowed to hire them. It's wild, man. Where are we at? Yeah. In advance of the meeting, Neil Saunders, managing director of consulting firm Global Data's retail division, said Costco can be confident the proposal will be rejected. Notice how they have about 2% of Costco's stock institutionally. plus whatever their shareholders have. It's wild. I think people generally have confidence in Costco's management, and there's an attitude of why rock the boat? It's sailing very nicely, Saunders said. Costco's public stance in support of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs contrasts with the positions taken in recent months by other big consumer brands, including Walmart, McDonald's, and John Deere. Last week, more than 30 Walmart shareholders, including Amalgamated Bank and Oxfam America, asked the CEO of the nation's largest retailer to explain the business impact of curbing the company's DEI policies, a move they called disheartening. Prominent technology companies, including Amazon and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, have rolled back DEI initiatives, which are expected to face opposition from the administration of President Donald Trump. Emboldened by the Supreme Court's decision on affirmative actions at colleges and universities, conservative groups have filed lawsuits making similar arguments about corporations, targeting initiatives such as employee resource groups and hiring practices that prioritize historically marginalized groups. On Monday, Trump signed an executive order aimed at terminating DEI programs within federal agencies. Conservatives have long condemned them, arguing they violate the U.S. Constitution by considering factors such as race, gender, and sexual orientation. The plan includes leveraging the Justice Department and other agencies to probe private companies pursuing training and hiring practices that conservative critics consider discriminatory against people who do not belong to minority groups such as white men. As for Costco, the National Center for Public Policy Research alleged that at least 200,000 of the company's 300,000 employees worldwide are potentially victims of this type of illegal discrimination because they are white, Asian, male, or straight. If only a fraction of those employees were to sue Costco, the legal costs could be significant, the center said. Costco could go bankrupt. Costco has a chief diversity officer, but the company's executive ranks do not reflect the diversity of its customers. We don't care. 81% of Costco executives were white, 72% were men, blah, blah, blah. In other ways, Costco's been a bit of a maverick in the corporate world. It doesn't have an official corporate public relations team, and it hasn't focused on building up online businesses as much as rivals Walmart and Target. The National Center for Public Policy Research intends to present a proposal at Apple's February 25th shareholder meeting that goes beyond what the think tank wants from Costco. The Center's resolution asks the tech company to abolish its inclusion and equity department, policies and goals, describing them as consistent with, if not more radical than most corporate DEI programs. Apple's board wants shareholders to vote down the proposal, saying the company strives to create a culture of belonging where everyone can do their best work. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon this week joined the corporate leaders in taking a stance in support of the expanded diversity goals some companies added after the 2020 police killing of George Floyd. Dimon defended his bank's DEI policies during an interview with CNBC. We're going to continue to reach out to the Black community, Hispanic community, and the LGBT community, the veterans community said, speaking Wednesday from the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, Switzerland. And wherever I go, red states, blue states, green states, mayors, governors, then they said they like what we do. Trump's actions this week increased the potential risk for companies that resist AI, blah, blah, blah. Listen, man, here's the thing. Costco's a good company. Costco really is, right? And their CEO, or at least their founder, is a total badass. You know, I remember years ago, mind you, this was forever ago, this is something I read, right? In regard to the price of the hot dog and drink combo, you know, he said to the incoming CEO, if you ever change the price of the hot dog, I'll fucking kill you, right? Which is, that's awesome, that's badass, right? But at the same time, Costco's being really stupid here. Because why expose yourself to litigation that will come? Why expose yourself to that just for the need to submit to the cult? Because the cult is dying. We can all see that the cult is dying right now. With how subdued the left feels right now, with the fact that government agencies and businesses are submitting to Trump, the woke cult is falling apart. It's starting to die off because people aren't scared anymore. So I just find it interesting that Costco is like, you know, I think this is a really good idea. But like I said, man, it's all these big banks. It's all this woke crap where there are still woke employees. People are still pushing for the wokeness, the DEI. But I don't think it's going to last long. I really don't. I think that sooner or later Costco will stop it, just like everyone else is starting to stop it. And I also wouldn't be shocked if, because this is pretty big news, if Costco sees a Bud Light moment. Now, if you guys remember back to a couple of years ago, I believe it was maybe like 2 years ago, 2023 area, maybe 24, somewhere around there, where Bud Light used Dylan Mulvaney as an advertiser. Now, Dylan Mulvaney was the transgender influencer on Twitter, or TikTok, and conservatives had a massive backlash. They proved that they can do what the left does in boycotting. They proved that it works. And Bud Light lost a massive amount of market share that they've never regained. Like, they are no longer the largest beer brand in America. Modelo has that title now, and Bud Light will never get back what they lost. And I hope more companies see that. I hope more companies see conservatives boycott them, centrists boycott them, people who are just tired of these stupid DEI things boycott them because they're stupid. There's no point in discriminating against anyone. I don't care if there are these, white guilt or these long held ideas that these people are what's the word for? These people are disadvantaged, right? There's no reason to disadvantage someone else just because someone else used to be disadvantaged. They're not now. That's how it is. And, it's wild, man. Either way, I've said enough about this. Listen, guys, next segment's coming up later this afternoon. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. We'll see you then. Have a good one.